Hey, so today we're going to continue with Unit 3, Week 4. We went over the vocabulary yesterday, so we will be prepared for the reading today. Today we're going to read Marian Anderson's Struggles and Triumphs, and we are going to identify the main idea after we read each section of Marian Anderson's Struggles and Triumphs. So I'm going to pause the video or the reading of the story after each section so that you will have a chance to write down what you think the main idea would be. Once we read the first section, I'm going to show you how we're going to go about doing that, and then we'll continue with the reading of this piece of informational text. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it.
A Voice of Great Promise. On February 27, 1897, a baby girl came into the world, crying with all her might. No one knew then that this voice would one day move mountains. It was not easy for an African American born at the turn of the 20th century to follow her dream. But Marian Anderson would become one of the greatest singers of her time. There were many opportunities for young Marian to explore her musical talent in her Philadelphia, Pennsylvania neighborhood. She began singing in her local church choir at the age of 6. But because she was such an adept singer, she was soon invited to perform outside of church. The Philadelphia Choral Society even awarded her $500 to take singing lessons. With such advantages, Marian was shocked by her first experience of racism.
So we stopped there so we can take a look to see what we would do once we got done reading each section. All right, so let's look at the Nearpod lesson. And the Nearpod lesson is asking us to listen to a biography of Marian Anderson's Struggles and Triumphs. And then as we read each section, we're going to identify the main idea of each section in order to improve our understanding of the overall text. The first one has been done for you. As you can see, each main idea statement begins with, this section explains how Marian. So the first one is, we just read a Voice of Great Promise. This section explains how Marian explored her musical talent at a young age. So basically, we read that, and it was all about how she explored her musical talent. The next thing, we will read the next section, which is called Racism and Rejection, and then we will do the exact same thing. So the first one I did for you. The second one, I left you with a sentence starter, and then you're supposed to finish it with what that section was about. All right? Okay, so let's go ahead and get back to it.
Rejection. After graduating high school, Marian went to the admissions office of a local music school. "I want to study music here," she told the young clerk. When the clerk told her that African American students were not accepted at the school, Marian was stunned, but she didn't argue. She wondered, how can someone surrounded by the beauty of music be so full of hatred? The rejection did not stop the singer. Marian's church donated money for her to study with Giuseppe Baghetti, a famous voice teacher. In 1925, Baghetti entered Marian in a voice contest in which she competed against 300 others to win the honor of singing with the New York Philharmonic Orchestra. Unfortunately, her next big performance in New York City was not so successful. Because she was black, very few people came to hear her. Some critics found her performance to be lacking. As a result, fewer people asked her to sing concerts.
So we pause for a little bit so that you can write down, or you can finish the sentence. So it says, this section explains how Marian, and then you'll tell a little bit about what happened with Marian from the section on racism and rejection. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and read the next section. I'm sorry, there's a little bit left for racism and rejection on the next page. I apologize.
It seemed that Marion's career was over. The discrimination she encountered at the music school could be found nearly everywhere in the United States. Many white audiences refused to hear African American performers, and many concert halls would not allow black singers to perform. "If I cannot sing in America," Marion told herself, "I will go to Europe." She left in 1930, hoping that audiences overseas would give her a chance. To Europe.
All right, so we pause for a minute, give you a chance to go ahead and maybe modify your statement if you need to, based on that we hadn't read the entire section. All right, so let's go ahead and go. Feel free to stop the video at any time just so you can write down your thoughts and then you can continue with the video. All right, next section.
And back again. In Europe, prominent composers and conductors praised Marion. Audiences flocked to hear her. To them, she was musical aristocracy, one of the most gifted singers ever. A man named Saul Harak, who saw Marion perform in Paris, became her manager. Soon he had a request. "Come back to America to sing again," he pleaded. "Will they ever respect me in America the way they do here?" Marion wondered. She decided to find out. She returned to the same concert hall where her career had nearly ended a decade before. This time, the performance was a success. The singer's popularity grew, and Harak began to book more recitals in the U.S. Still, like other African Americans at the time, Marion was not allowed to eat in many restaurants or stay in many hotels when she traveled. And no opera house would invite an African American to sing. But it was an act of prejudice in 1939 that gained Marion the greatest fame.
Okay, so we will stop here and you would finish my sentence. This section explains how Marion, and then you will go on to talk about what did that particular section talk about as it relates to Marion Anderson and what she went through as far as her struggles and her triumphs. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and read the next section. And this next section is called Change Did Not Come Easily. So again, we're going to learn about what happened with Marion in this particular section of the text.
Change did not come easily. Harak tried to arrange for Marion to sing at Constitution Hall, owned by the Daughters of the American Revolution, DAR. Though the DAR told Harak no dates were available, they continued to book white performers. Outraged, First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt resigned from the DAR in protest. Marion's supporters breathed a collective sigh of relief when a federal official offered her use of the Lincoln Memorial for a concert on Easter Sunday, 1939. Marion was not sure what to do. The dignified woman was troubled by the drama of the situation. The prejudice barring her from Constitution Hall existed well beyond the concert hall's walls. Besides, the whole idea could backfire, and American audiences might once again reject her. On the other hand, Marion understood that the concert was not just about her. It was about helping all African Americans. Should she lend her voice so that others could prevail against injustice? Marion decided to take the chance. The concert drew nationwide attention, and Marion was stunned when nearly 75,000 spectators attended. Millions more listened to the live radio broadcast. 15 long years would pass before New York's Metropolitan Opera invited Marion to sing. But she was the first African American ever to receive such acknowledgement. On opening night, even before she sang a single note, the audience applauded for 5 full minutes. Her performance established Marion once more as a trailblazer, who opened up opportunities for Black Americans. The celebrated conductor Arturo Toscanini said that a voice such as Marion's was heard once in 100 years. Indeed, Marian Anderson's glorious singing, combined with her perseverance in the face of prejudice, shattered racial barriers and enriched the lives of countless people.
Okay, so this time you will stop. We're done reading, and you'll go ahead and we'll do the last section, and you'll say again. You'll finish off my statement. This section explains how Marion, and then you will finish that sentence like you have done for the previous ones. All right. So go ahead and finish that, and then we're going to go ahead and do our exit assessment once we're done. All right, and like I said, if you're looking at this independently, please go ahead and pause so that you can, work on that, and then you can play the video when you're ready. All right, so the next piece will be the next section. When we're done, we're going to write a race paragraph. We're going to use the race writing strategy to respond to the essential question. And our essential question was, how can one person affect the opinions of others? So we've kind of modified that a little bit to say something slightly different. So it says, how did Marian Anderson singing change the way Americans thought about African American performers? So we're going to restate the question, then we're going to answer the question. We're going to provide some textual evidence and then explain how the evidence fits. So we're going to do what we normally would do with the race strategy. Okay? And that will be all that we do today for this story. We will continue working with the story tomorrow, and we'll focus on cause and effect. All right. Thank you, guys.